you might want to have maybe a resistance band, and these come in different levels of resistance. And really you can adjust how much resistance you get. So if you hold your hands further apart, it's a little less resistance. If you have your hands closer together, it's more resistance. So again, you might want a resistance band or two, maybe some dumbbells. If you don't have either of those, you can use your own intention and your own awareness, or maybe fill up some water bottles or some cans, things like that. You could even use books, get very creative. So, with or without any additional weights, that's your call. I practice in my bare feet, but especially if you're using something heavy like a dumbbell, you might want to put on some shoes. As always, please practice safely, make the best choice for you. And then just a couple other things. I have some music going on in the background, which you probably can't hear, but if you'd like to put on something with a little bit of a beat to help you with the repetitions, you can do that. And as always, please have some water, something to drink, so you can stay hydrated as we go through the practice. We're going to start with a little bit of movement, waking things up. And first, inhaling, arms can come out to the sides, or if it feels okay, to the shoulders, all the way overhead. And then exhaling, arms come back to heart center. Inhaling and exhaling, creating a moving meditation almost. So we're connecting breath to movement, sending oxygen to all our cells, every muscle, all the parts of our body that we're going to be using today. And you can, again, make this movement as big as feels good to your body. So if you're just waking up, you might maybe be right here, making it smaller. You can open up the chest, expanding across the front of the shoulders and the chest, opening the heart. And even if you're already awake, this might feel pretty good. Getting a nice opening for the chest, countering some of that forward leaning that we do over computers and steering wheels, cell phones. Strengthening the upper back, starting to send some blood and circulation to that area of the body. So we're getting ready to use it. And then we'll let those arms come down. We're going to add in a little lateral flexion, inhaling the right arm up, exhaling it down, inhaling the left arm up, exhaling it down. And you can maybe flow a little bit more with that if you'd like. So as we bring an arm down, we could send the other one up. So right now we're just starting to let our body know that we're going to be doing a little bit more. Warming up the different parts of our body. And in fact, we're going to change this. So you might stay here if this is feeling good to you, or you can start to step out to the side. So arms could be here, almost in a position as if you were boxing and getting ready, or guarding your face. And then maybe reaching the opposite arm across. So as we're warming up, these are just options. So if this feels at any point, any of these choices feel a little awkward to you, you can find what does feel good. Maybe march in place. Another option, and I'll show you right here, is to tap front, and we can make some bicep curls with our arms. So tapping a foot forward. And you could stay right there, or we could change this up a little bit. We could do a high march and bring the arms in. And you could do this march slowly or quickly. So if you want to move the legs a little more quickly, you can. If you're moving slowly, especially with the legs, it can tend to be a little more challenging for the balance. Ooh, I almost lost my balance there. So we're just warming up. We're going to do a couple of big, what I call moonflowers. So we're going to inhale the arms up, exhale, squatting down, inhaling up. So if we're coming into this deep squat, this deep sumo squat, if your hips are still a little tight or you're, again, not really warmed up and loosened up, you might stay a little more shallow, and that's okay too. And if you want, you can adjust your feet. Sometimes that can help with the range of motion. Inhaling up, exhaling down. So you can't hear my music, but it got me ready to sing to you. I'm gonna bring the arms down and up, down and up. So you can change the arms. All right, we'll do two more of whatever it is that you're doing right now to warm up. Then we'll bring the arms back down. Notice what's happening in your body. Maybe you feel your heart beating a little bit more. Maybe you feel a little warmer. All good things. So again, anytime you need to, please stop, take a drink, especially if we're doing repetitions of a move that maybe you don't normally do. You can always pause for a few repetitions and then join us back if that feels more doable. So it's all about listening to your body. We're going to reach for a resistance band, or I'm going to reach, whoops, for mine, was trapped by my dumbbells there. And every time we change up what we're doing with the resistance band, we might need to adjust our hands. So you can start out, and if just as I was telling you before, if you have your hands in kind of close and you go to do a move and you feel like you're going to break the band, then take it a little wider apart, or even if it just feels a little like too much resistance. If it feels too easy, that's when you bring your hands in a little bit closer. So sometimes it takes a little bit of testing, a little bit of trial and error to find the best distance for you. So we're going to bring our arms up and overhead. So just like we did with our moonflowers, or kind of, because this time we're not going to add the squat. We're going to inhale up and then exhale, bringing arms to about chest height. Inhaling, we'll come up, and we're going to move slowly in both directions. And that allows us to get work in both directions. Because as long as we still have a little bit of play going on in the resistance band where we're still stretching it, it's not all slack, we're still getting some work. Exhaling down, inhaling up. And you might pause on either end of this move. And I'm finding that when I come down to my lowest level, that my band feels almost as if it could break. So I'm going to open my hands a little wider. I'm going to try that one more time because I really do not want to break the band. If you've ever done it, you understand why I don't want to break it. It can be a little jarring when it happens to you out of the blue. So just noticing where we're feeling the work, noticing what's happening. Inhaling up, exhaling down. So we're going to do one more. And then we'll bring the arms down. We're going to shake them out a little bit because what we're about to do is still going to be focusing on the upper body, a little more with the shoulders. We can shake out the wrists. Anything that you might need right here. And just looking, checking out your smiling faces. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take the left arm up. Right hand is, so the right, let's think about this. Right hand is down, left hand is up, and we can kind of play with where we're going to put that right hand because we want to extend it, and that's too close for me, so we're going to come down. So bringing the hand down by the hip and then bringing it back up. So it's not quite the same move that we were just doing, and so you might feel this a little more in the shoulders, maybe even into the triceps. I'm going to say probably into the triceps. And we can never really isolate just one body part. Sometimes we'll say an exercise or a move focuses on one part of the body, but oftentimes we're using several different parts to assist. And this arm that's lifted and holding and stationary, it's getting work. Do two more. All right, so now we're going to shake out the arms again, especially that one that was holding. You might really want to roll those shoulders out. So it's almost like when we do a balance pose in yoga. If we're standing on one leg, that leg that's standing gets a lot of work. And it's the same thing with that stationary arm that was holding the band up. So now we're going to bring the opposite arm up and test it out. See, do we need a little more resistance or a little less? That seems pretty good for me. And you can envision the part of your body that you're working on. So I'm actually imagining my triceps, the back of my upper arm. So when I extend it right there, so when you extend it, you might notice that getting the work. We'll do a couple more. One more. All right, so now we're going to thank our arms. Again, maybe shake them out. We're going to take the right arm across the body, and we can take the opposite arm just above the elbow, making sure that shoulder is down away from the ear. So we're getting into the back of the shoulder. Now we'll take that arm up, bringing fingertips between the shoulder blades. And you can either stay right here if that's enough for that tricep, or you can hold onto the elbow, being really careful to not cram the neck in any way or cram the head and neck. We'll make sure we're breathing here as we're enjoying this stretch. And we'll take the opposite arm across the body. So left arm across the body, dropping that shoulder, maybe wiggling the fingers. My fingers are dancing to the music. Now we bring the arm up, fingertips between the shoulder blades. Elbow is straight up towards the sky. That feels pretty yummy to me. We're going to inhale the arms up and out. And if you have dumbbells, you can reach for them. If you have a resistance band, you could use your resistance band for what we're about to do. You could stay standing. We're going to do a bicep curl. So you could have equal distance on your band. So standing on your band, equal distance, and do the bicep curls. I'm going to go into a split stance for a lunge. Now, if you have any balance challenges or balance issues, and if you want to try this with the dumbbells in this lunge position, it might be really helpful to have something nearby in case you need to reach for it. So I'm going to turn my palms forward and holding this lunge, just inhaling up and then exhaling down. And actually, we're going to exhale on the lift because that's the work. So right here's the work. Inhale to slowly come down. Exhaling up, inhaling down. And if you forget or you get lost where to breathe in and breathe out, just make sure you're breathing. You notice you're holding your breath at any point. That's when you know you've, shifted into a little too much effort, maybe backing off a tiny bit. So maybe lowering the weight. You could stand up in this bicep curl, maybe take a break for a couple repetitions. We'll do one more on this side if you're in the split stance with me. And then we'll switch. So stepping the other foot forward. So now we're getting ready. And this time we're going to turn into what's called a hammer curl. So palms are facing in towards each other. Exhaling up, inhaling down. And this is just working the bicep muscles in a little different way. We'll do 3 more on this side. And if you're holding this position with me, you're probably noticing the legs getting a little bit of work. We're going to do a bonus one here. And then you can, actually, let's all set the weights down for a second. If we've got them, we'll take the palms behind us. Thumbs are away, palms are up, and then rotating through the arms. So you can go up and then away. So if there's any other stretch or move that you need right there, you can take it. We're going to go into an overhead press. Now, if we're using resistance bands for an overhead press, you want to make sure that you have a really long resistance band so that you can extend the arms overhead. If not, you could switch to dumbbells, something else as a weight, or again, using your awareness and your intention and moving slowly with intention. That's going to give you a little more focus for that. So bending down to reach for our weights if we're using them. And this time we're going to hold more of a stationary stance. We'll bring our arms out into basically cactus arms. We'll push the arms overhead and then slowly back down to that 90-degree or roughly 90-degree position. And you can breathe out through the mouth if that feels good. I'm kind of curious, who's singing out there? I've got some music going and I am fighting to try not to sing to you. We'll do just a few more like this. And then again, slowly bringing the arms down. We're going to set our weights out of the way for a moment as we do a stretch. All right, so I'm going to reach for my dumbbells again, and I'll show you what we're going to do. This one might be a little tricky with the resistance band. I'm sure there is a way to do it, but I haven't really thought through it. So I've got my feet about shoulder width apart. This is, again, a little focus on the shoulder. What we're going to do is we're going to raise and extend an arm. Now, even though this arm is extended, we have at least a little bit of a bend in the elbow. And I like to think about keeping the pinky just a little bit higher than the rest of the hand. And then lowering this arm down slowly with control. Now we'll do the same thing on the other side. Tiny bend in the elbow, and that's going to protect the shoulder, going to protect the elbow. So if we try and lock the arm out, it's the same thing as when we lock the knees out. We want to keep a little bit of a bend there and slowly come down. So you could try this and move through this without any extra resistance. And I like to think about coming about eyeball height as I lift. And now I'm going to bend down carefully and reach for my dumbbells. Now, shoulders are a smaller muscle, so you might find yourself going down in the weight that you're using, and that's okay. We don't have to use the same weight for every single move that we do. So nice and slow, moving with control. We're not rushing or hurrying. And we even have that little pause right there when we lift the weight to its full height and then lower with control. So when we pause there, we're really turning on the muscles at that point because they have to fire just a little bit more to hold that position. If we were moving fluidly and with momentum, you're getting less benefit for the muscles. So we want the muscles to do the work, not just momentum taking over. All right, we're going to do one more to each side after this one. All right, we're going to set our weights down carefully. Again, maybe taking arm across the body, Stretch it out. Sometimes you know that your body needs something else. Maybe you need some more shoulder rolls. That can feel really good. It's almost like giving yourself a little bit of a massage there. We're going to inhale and exhale. Thank you so much for joining me today for this mini workout snack.